Can you smell what the flock is cooking? Flock up or flock off, not you. You stick around because it's about to go down. You now flock on the most energetic entity in the Eagleverse here on the Maniac Monday, day 4 of camp, I believe it is. And what we got for your flock pots, what we got for the flock docs, what we got for the prescription on this edition of what we dishing out over here. Out of these flock pots, you know what I'm saying? We're going to get into a little bit of the dome debate. I've been hearing a lot about that. A little bit of elite Eagles, Madden 99 club type deals, Christian Wilkins, the Vic Fangio relation. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? And of course, a little bit of camp, man. But before we get into any of that, let's get the nest keeping out of the way. Please like and subscribe. If you about that fly, Eagles fly. Drop a comment in that box if you're flying with the flock. Even if you're not, do remember, join that Maniac thing. Note again, you hit that bell, you get a thing whenever I'm on this YouTube thing. And while that's the Maniac thing, let's keep the main thing the main thing. Hope this video finds you in good vibes. Fly, Eagle, fly skies. If you're not there, hope this helps you get there, because we about to go there. Oh yeah, let's fucking go. So yeah, man, first things first, this dome debate, man. I'm hearing people talking about it last week. So Ike Reed's going crazy on ESP on what is it, the fan, the whip, whatever the flock they call it, the Eagles channel, the radio channel. You know what I'm talking about. This is why I need therapy, bro. Regardless of what, you've got Ike Reed's going crazy because they're speaking to the fact that the dome, if we got a dome in Philly, it would take away from, you know, the elements and what it does for the game. And right now I'm actually watching the replay of the Rams game again, because, you know, I just need to watch some real football. Even though we're hyped about everything getting going in, we got training camp and all kinds of things going on in training camp. It's still just training camp, man. It's practice. Like I had to tell my Maniac cousin the other day, he's more of a commander maniac. You know, he's totally, completely a commander maniac. Regardless of what, just like, bro, it's practice. We're talking about practice, and while we can get a little excited, man, it's like, calm down, especially when they're talking about their practice. You know what I mean? Like, the great words of Allen Iverson. It's practice, bro. We're talking about practice. Like, the flock is we talking about. So regardless of what, you know, I got to watch games. And while I'm watching the games, I'm hearing everyone talking about these Rams and this, that, and the third. And the Rams game is the game that people talk about most. Also, the Shady game, when Shady broke the Russian record. And it's wild, bro. Russian record broken on the Rams and then played in the snow. There's some type of correlation there. The fact that Shady did it in the snow, and then, albeit say 2K didn't do it in the snow when he broke his record against the Rams in the regular season, he did crush them again in the postseason in the snow. It's kind of crazy. Regardless of whom or what. Snow, elements, this, that, and the third. Dude, listen, I love going out there, getting crazy with the fellow fans and all of that. Like, there's nothing better. I'll do it rain, sleet, or snow. We train to go. You already know. There's that. But some days, you're sitting there like, you know what? I think I'll just stay at home. And we know at the end of the day, it all comes down to the money, right? So if there's a way for Esteban Laurie to get more money to pay our players, I mean, I'm all for it. I just thought of that. Like, on that accord, I am definitely with the movements. Then, because I highly doubt no one's going to be like, man, I ain't going to these games. They're indoors. Yuck. Who wants that? No. And then furthermore, man, I see the way our players look. And I know there are players, there's some snow dogs out there, right, who love the snow, love going crazy in the elements, right? However, I see it a lot. You see Smitty on the sideline asking for a hat, asking for a scarf, asking for a coat. You saw the mic'd up moments, right? You hear AJ. You know, we got a lot of the best players, hate to say it, come from the South nowadays. You know what I'm saying? And they ain't with this cold weather bull. You feel me? But however, you always must be trained to go. I say all of that to say this. I am one of, when I looked at the list, I saw a whole bunch of people were for it. And then I saw comments on my replies, and, you know, there were people against it, too. I mean, I imagine that's about 50-50, 60-40, whatever the case may be. I'm just of the thinking how, even like, there's this dome, somewhat like a dome in Germany. They always play there when they play games over in Germany, because they always play games in Germany, right? Football games, it's a soccer stadium, right? Where the fans are covered, but the elements can still fall onto the field. And I think that's pretty dope. I'd be with that. But then, you know, you want a Super Bowl in Philly, man. Imagine us playing a Super Bowl at home, bro. That would be flocking nuts. Is you kidding me? Especially the way this team is currently built, just to always be there. I mean, since Jeff Esteban has been here, man, 25 years, we've been in the running for a chip damn near half of that time, man. It's an amazing time to be an Eagles fan, regardless of what. So you got that going. Not to mention the safety of the players. I mean, everyone's talking about Bush in the tan, banning the banning the tush. I ain't even calling it that. Banning the brotherly shove. What needs to be banned is some of these fields, some of the turf that they put on these fields, namely MetLife Stadium. Like, dude, their guys stay getting injured on that field. I can't remember of a game the Eagles going into that game, and I know people get injured all the time, but I feel like every time we play at MetLife, we come off of that field, somebody's, well, last year may be the first time in a long time that one of our guys didn't get injured going onto that stadium, not to mention what happened in Arizona in the Super Bowl. Like, some of these things need to be banned. However, let's stay focused. This is why the Maniac needs therapy. You got our players. And the biggest one, some dude said it in the comments, said, I said, you know, we almost lost that game. Few guys got injured in this game, and it's because of the snow. We spanked these dudes and on their beautiful field. I mean, no, there's nothing wrong with the link. Don't ever get it twisted. I love the link regardless. But we spanked them out there in LA. And then, you know, we was headed to spanking them over here too. However, you know, the elements kicked in. Jalen Hurts almost got hurt. A few other guys got banged up in that game. Not to mention all of the interceptions that I feel like we missed because of slips in the snow. I mean, you hear Bart Scott, man, this dude, I swear he's got it out for us or something, man. Like, it's weird. I love this dude as a player, as a commentator and everything, except for when it seems like he talks about us like, yeah, the Rams came the closest. Like, I mean, you know, I mean, technically, yes. Let me get off the BS. That's just a fan in me, right? I'm acting crazy. However, we were about to run away with this game, and that snow almost jacked us up. This guy Stafford with the no-look pass is flocking wild. So we almost lost that game. Dude in the comments says almost. Da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, dude's a regular dictionary. Like, it knows, I get, like, I know almost doesn't mean we did, but we came damn close. You know what I'm saying? So I say all that to say this. I am on the side of the Eagles possibly getting a dome, retractable or something, indoor, outdoor, the deal like they got out there in LA. I believe, don't the Colts have some type of outdoor, indoor deal going on with Lucas Oil? Like, just, yo, it would be crazy. But then the other thing that's whack about it is, you know, they're talking about taking it away and where would you want it in Philly. Now you're getting kind of crazy because albeit I am not a Phillies fan or a Flyers fan, just that whole sports complex deal of it is fire. That's super dope. I believe they got something like that going on in Detroit also. It's just dope when you got all the stadiums in the same area, and it's fairly easy to get to. I mean, I'm coming from New York, so I mean, regardless from what, I'm going wherever you're going, so it really don't matter. I'm just, you know, just something that I wonder. And I'm of the belief that, you know, if we could get a dome, go get a dome. Oh, yeah, and the last piece, somebody brought it up, was inside of a dome. Imagine this fan base. This fan base inside of a dome, it will be the craziest, loudest stadium ever known to man. We might break this roof anyway, so, I mean, why even put one on, right? I don't know, man. Just what I'm thinking. If you feel otherwise, let me know. Lean me towards you. Tell me what your battle is, what your argument is. Let me know, man. But I'm on the dome side when it's come to the dome debate. And speaking of other debates, I heard Bart Scott, he's not only debating, you know, whether the Rams are toughest task, and now that they got Devontae Adams, it's spooky crazy. Like, he's talking about a wide receiver in a wheelchair, man. What is he really talking about over here? All right, but yeah, oh man, I want to get into receivers later too. Maybe we'll save that for tomorrow. So yeah, we got that going on, and then, you know, so he's talking about the Rams being our biggest test, and they almost took us out, and blah 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 blah. And meanwhile, I just said that a few seconds ago. And then he's got a debate with Lane Johnson being in, guess what? The 99 Club. Lane Johnson is in the flocking 99 Club along with Saquon Barkley. The Eagles have the most players in the 99 Club this year with 2 players. No other team has. There's a lot of teams without one, right? We got 2 of them things. Super dope hype about that. But he's like, you know, if Lane Johnson is in there, then you got to talk about, I think he was talking about Christian Darrisaw and Penny Sewell. No, it was Tristan Wirfs. That's right. He was talking about Tristan Wirfs and Penny Sewell, like dogs. Like, dudes robbed them already. Can the man right here really get one? Everyone knows that paved the lane leads the way when it comes to these flocking Eagles. We've been seeing this for years. I mean, there was a time when I believe records like him out of the game, 13 games, we were like 2-11, some craziness. Like, he really means that much to this team. Those other guys could kick rocks as far as I'm concerned, especially when it comes to talking to about my guy, Paved the Lane Johnson. I got to give me a 65, man. I'm wilding. Speaking of getting gear, sidebar, is it just like dogs? Nah, because that is Michelin Ness. So is Michelin Ness's green different? It's almost like a mint, man. I imagine it has something to do with copyrights and all kinds of those things. I don't know, man, but it's I got it. I'm super hyped, man. We got a new dope hoodie, man. We're gonna unveil that during the regular season when it turns into hoodie season. You already know. But yeah, man, give it up to Lane Johnson being the newest member of the 99 Club as far as the Eagles go, man. That's super dope. Having two guys on our team both repping that, man, with Saquon Barkley and Lane Johnson is just ridiculous. What is to come this year? I saw him speaking of training camp last week. They believe it was on Saturday or something. You saw him he was like taking some notes from AJ Brown as far as breaking down route movements and whatever the case may be. Super dope, man. Like, if this guy can step it up another level, and it seems clearly he has a growth mind state. And this guy, I mean, to be as great as he is, attempting to even get greater is just wild to me. Not to mention, something crossed my mind, the way you see these teammates cross-train with each other is super dope, and it led me to think, like, I don't know about y'all, and I've heard Mina Khan say it time and time again too, but I noticed it also during last postseason run. Like, Jalen Hurts seemed to be like he hit another gear. Like, I don't know what like, albeit I know he was out on the last 3 games of the season. You could have been doing something, possibly just getting fresh. I don't know if that's how it works, if that's how endurance works. You have a few days off, then you're going to be faster. Quite possibly, I would imagine. So it kind of makes sense. But then again, I don't know. However, he seemed to be faster. And I remember Saquon Barkley speaking to getting faster all year. Like a lot of times he likes to, we go into the offseason, training on getting stronger and other things. But like he's like thought to himself, I'm a running back. Why am I not implementing a run regimen in my offseason? And he did that. And he clearly looked faster last year. I remember optimistic Giants fan coming at me saying, like, yeah, he just don't got that breakaway speed that he used to have, and da-da-da. And sure enough, we saw him break away more runs than we've ever seen in the history of football last year. So he definitely touched on that, worked on that. Whatever he did worked for him, and looked like, like I said, I don't know. I don't know if it's a fact, but I believe it's true that Jalen Hurts may have taken a few cues from Saquon Barkley as far as upping his speed last year, man, because the dude was just phenomenal, and it's dope for him to be in this 99 club along with Lane Johnson. I am just super hyped for these two guys. Last thing I want to get into before we get into any training camp biz, Christian Wilkins and Vic Fangio. Once again, another thing, I got to get optimistic Giants fans on here. I talk about this dude way too much on my damn show. So, however, he sent me a picture of Christian Wilkins with Dexter Lawrence. It was two guys in Clemson uniforms. I was like, who the hell are they? Like, how the fuck am I supposed to know who the fuck Clemson Tigers are? Like, who is these guys? Well, now he put it on that Christian Wilkins and Dexter Lawrence have a relationship with best friends down there in Clemson, which led me to start thinking, like, oh, okay, so cool. They're friends. I thought, wait, oh snap, the Eagles have a connection with Christian Wilkins too, in the guise of one Vic Fangio, who was just taking Philly by storm since he's been here, and his presses have become must-see TV for real, because he just drops all the gems, talks all the talk, walks all the walks. He's beyond reproach, at least as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to Eagles coaches right now. I mean, no, let me chill, because I love me some Knicks and Sirianni. But I mean, Vic Fangio, he's definitely up there, top tier. Like, he is that dude. Oh man, we got dope coaches all across the board. Now I'm gonna start sounding like Nick Sirianni, because I could go down the list of how great all these guys are. Stout, if you're gonna put the top three, you got to throw Stoutland in there, and then the backups to the backups even better. Like, it gets crazy when you think of this coaching staff. However, Christian Wilkins and Vic Fangio having a relationship, being that I believe he wasn't drafted by Vic Fangio, but he was definitely a first-round draft pick for Miami, and he did play under Vic Fangio down there in Miami. The only thing that even though it would be dope, and I just want to throw some throw some shade in the optimistic Giants fans' face, you know what I'm saying? Throw some doubt over there, you know what I'm saying? Get them all curled up in their little midget moccasins or whatever they call, right? But I mean, that was so horrible. But if there was to be a reunion with those two, it would definitely bode well for the Philadelphia Eagles. However, I just don't believe it's in the cards for us as far as us going for this youth movement. We do have money left over. Perhaps if it was a one-year deal, like, say, for instance, Christian Wilkins, he's still a young guy, maybe want to come over here on a one-year deal, get this championship thing out the way. I very rarely use this word, man. I am wild. And the confidence that this team has just put in me, like, it's overwhelming. I can't even temper my own craziness of trying to stay away from championship words and Super Bowl words and things of that ilk, especially in the preseason. But I mean, to have a chance at winning a championship, playing playoff football, whatever you want to call it, would be super dope. Look, yeah, that run by Jalen Hurts, the first run of the. The boy was cooking against the Rams, dog. Straight set it off. Everybody talking about Saquon, say 2K. Your man Hurts said, hey, hold us, and then right back to say 2K. It's ridiculous what we got over there. So Christian Wilkins coming to us, I just don't believe is in the cards. Unless, of course, he would come on a one-year deal, prove it, see what it feels like to play for a winning organization, winning a few playoff games and things of that sort, and then, be on his merry way. That would be super dope. However, with the guys coming down the pipeline as far as the Cooper DeJeans, the Quinyon Mitchells, Jalen Carter, are we kidding me? The next up, and beyond that, and beyond that, and beyond that. I do believe we took care of Reed Blankenship, so we got him for a few more years. Super dope. Just love the way Howie does it. Takes care of his guy. Howie busting the stupid dope moves. He works with Jeff Steban, Laurie. A.J. Brown dropping a pass. That's crazy. And speaking of dropping a pass, transition right into training camp today. So word on the street is that your boy Quinyon Mitchell got the first interception of the summer. Interception on a short thrown ball by Jalen Hurts up deep to A.J. Brown. Crazy enough, right? And, this dude, you just been hearing about him all camp. And like we already know, I said it already, preface this by saying that this is just practice. It's practice. What are we really talking about here? Practice. But when we're talking about our guys, it really, really, really matters. It sucks to hear that your quarterback's throwing interceptions, but it's awesome to hear that your defense is locking dudes up, especially when it's guys like A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown, who had been nearly impossible to guard all this preseason camp, all this training camp, and now you got this guy Quinyon just locking people up. I was listening to him a breakdown from day 3 earlier this morning when Ruben, Frank, Dave Zangaro was speaking to the fact that he's just locking people up. He had Smitty locked up towards the end of the last practice, just pace for pace with him. He didn't even look back at the ball, just looked at what Devontae Smith was doing, pop. And when you're talking about going against top-tier receivers like A.J. Brown and Smitty, you're not sitting here thinking to yourself like, oh, maybe he's going against some slouches. Maybe they're taking it easy on him. I highly doubt that. It's a very, very, very highly competitive environment that we cultivate over there in the NovaCare complex. So I just can't see it being anything but top-notch defensive cornerback extraordinaire over there doing his damn thing. An interception, one-handed. And see, they spoke to how Slay had said last year, when it comes to young guys, first, it takes a while for it to come to, tracking the ball, seeing where it's at, this and that. And he seems to be on his way. And if he could match his, and such a dope word. I've heard Pharrell and who is it, the clip saying this word or something. I heard it last season a few times too. Like, he's just sticky. You know what I mean? Like, last year I remember seeing our defense when we started hitting us. No, I'm lying. It was about 2 years ago. The defense, when we were playing against Miami. And we were locking them up. Like, it was the stickiest I had seen our defense up until that point, albeit it was under the previous regime. It definitely transferred over. Well, it didn't transfer until later in that season, but it definitely transferred over once Vic Fangio got here, and especially with the likes of Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and other guys we have back there. We got to put some Avante mathematics on that. You feel me? Even though he's on the other side now, he's the enemy. Flock him. Gonna miss him. Darius Slay and all them dudes, yet another enemy. Regardless of what, it was super sticky last season, and to see that, if that can translate to this year, and also with the added ability of INTs, this would just be nuts. You add interceptions, even though we did get crazy turnovers towards the end of the season, regardless anyway, but I don't think it was really it wasn't really our DBs. It was, our linebackers getting busy with it. Safeties, of course, that ball hawk, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Mr. BTA himself. See, Quinyon mentioned we went down that game, too, dog. I thought it was over. Woo! So, but Quinyon doing what he did in practice is super dope. That's the biggest thing from practice that I took. Everything else just went in one ear and out the other. I'm like, who's who, what's what? I don't know. Yeah, sure, whatever. Like I said, it's practice. It was dope the first 3 days. Now this being the 4th day of them being in practice, it's super dope to have football back. However, now we want the real thing. Okay, enough of this. Let's get busy on some real football. So, can't wait for August 10th for that open practice. I might pull up at the link for that, trying to see what the family wants to do that weekend. Then we've also got, just a few days later, first preseason game, if I recall correctly. Or was that the 7th? Am I bugging? What? Yeah, we got the Hall of Fame game coming up. Yeah, a lot of things I got to look into. But before we look into anything else, yeah, so that was the biggest highlight for me from practice. There were other things, but it appears that my link is not coming up right now, and we're going to find out about it from other sources and other ways, all way. Anyway, so what we come here for is to get inside the mind of the maniac and the things that are, that because that is that definitely. Football is dope and what our team is doing, but what we think our team could do right here, because now we're in the both season hardcore right now, for real, for real. Because even though we got practice, we got this, that, and the third, we can still talk our talk, right? And the group I've got my eye on right now, I won't say the most because this is fluid. Every day is ever evolving, and we're going to think different things when you're in a maniac mind state, especially building up this frenzy with the season on the horizon. Like, all kinds of things are going to fly through our ego minds, right? However, the thing that caught my mind today was just seeing Jahan Dotson at the presser today, talking about his role with the Eagles, man. Funny thing, he goes, I know that it's bigger than me. I have a family to feed. It's just so funny. I think some wide receivers said some craziness last week. CeeDee Lamb, I'm the greatest in the game. I don't like talking about myself, though. Like, these dudes are flocking nuts. But I understand where Jahan Dotson is coming from. And speaking in terms of his future and things of that ilk. However, I think he can, because it just baffles me when I hear of these other content creators, these other pundits, these talking heads out there when speaking to Jahan Dotson role like they want more. Like, what more could you want from a guy? And I'm going to speak about the whole wide receiver court and the whole receiving court in general. That's basically, before I bury the lead, the group that I'm most interested in right now is seeing their development and seeing if it could come together as a cohesive unit, because I feel like we haven't ever, as much, even though we are spoiled of an embarrassment of riches when it comes to receivers that we have on this team. You hear people bring up depth and all of that, and I mean, like, our depth is in the starters. Like, we got, this doesn't come along very often. Even though it's starting to become par for the course in the NFL now, you're seeing damn near every team has a 1A and a 1B, which is flocking amazing for the league, but even more so for us when we're talking about the likes of Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. That's super dope to have, right? But the benefit of having a Jahan Dotson, our third guy, a former first-round pick, a dude who he always scared me over there in Washington anyway. I believe he beat us on a last second touchdown one time, one year. And, I just felt like he was on the up and up. I always drafted him I always tried to draft him in fantasy football. So I guess maybe perhaps I have a bias for him, and even more so now since he's an Eagle. But I do believe that his talents are, I believe, underestimated. Like, people don't really know. Like, he doesn't do enough. You can't really do much with an offense. He even said it today in his presser, when you're lining up next to a Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert, and then you yourself, like, and then you also have a quarterback that can go and take off with it. Like, so there's not going to be that many bites at the apple per se for him. Is that a phrase? I don't know. I felt like I just made this up. Bites at the, yeah, whatever. Not going to get as many cracks at it when you're dealing with, so when you got to spread the ball around with so many people, and then he was speaking and making the most of his opportunities. And I do believe they tried to crack my boy Devontae Smith, man. Pass interference. What y'all doing, bro? Relax. So whenever his number was dialed up, I believe he showed up and he came through. We all loved Kes Watkins. Well, me probably more than others, but we came to a point where he just wasn't. He was getting a little Nelson Aguilar arms, and I've heard other wide receivers speak to the point, like, if you're not getting the ball, like, it kind of messes up your rhythm, and then you want to throw it at me fourth quarter on a 4th and 4, like, over the top, over the head, you know what I'm saying, off target throw, like, and then you expect me to catch that? Like, come on, bro. Like, so I get that part. However, when it came to Jahan Dotson, we've seen it time and time before, like I said, with Kes Watkins, even in the Super Bowl, bro. Like, boom, over the middle, right there, open for a first down, just blah, 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 blah. We've seen it with Nelson Aguilar down the sideline, wide open, nothing but green grass ahead of him. Blah, 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 blah. Dropping him like, you ain't dropping him like, I ain't dropping it like Nelson Aguilar. I caught the baby. You feel me? We've all seen that. So when it comes to Jahan Dotson, I just seen, and not to mention, like, he makes tough catches. He was basically like he said, he's on this, what is it, the spark plug, the tone setter. It seemed like in two of those 4 playoff games, you had him in the Green Bay game with the touchdown. You had him in the Super Bowl with the long pass. You also had him in the Commanders game where he went up, snatched, boom, one-handed, tapped it back down to himself, came down with it. He had some phenomenal catches too. Like, so, yeah, the Bull was out there doing his thing, and I think Jahan Dotson is in for a big season along with Dallas Goedert, just the whole damn receiving core. Because when you think about this receiving core, and I mean, a win is a win is a win for me. My favorite stat is that stat in the left column, that W stat. You feel me? That is my favorite stat of any stats for the Philadelphia Flock and Eagles. And it's gonna look like what Jalen Hurts wants it to look like. And I know we're all chomping at the bit to actually see this receiving core and his passing game coming to fruition and be that dominant force that we all know it can be. We've seen glimpses of it their first Super Bowl run. And then last year, it just looked like a methodical approach with the run game and the pass game, just doing exactly what they needed to do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with it regardless of if it leads to wins. But I know, like I said, us as Eagle fans, we all want to see that crazy air attack. Want to. I don't need it. But man, if this passing attack could come out there and be the fine-tuned machine that run game is, that we know it can be when we're throwing out guys like I'm gonna say it again because I just love saying it. Dogs bringing out Goddard, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Jahan Dotson, Saquon Barkley out the backfield, and with the added threat of your running quarterback, this should be unstoppable. And what you did seem to be towards the end of the season, we broke a playoff record with 145 points for the 145 dimes in that $145 million ring. Got over here. Let's go Saquon Barkley. What? You fucking kidding me? Yo, it's nuts, man. 65 yards to the Flock in-house, man. They ain't got nothing for us. They told me they're going to do something. Circle it. Put right in the marker. Etch it in stone. Do whatever the fuck you want. We taking the damn thing home. Whew. I can't wait for football. I don't know if y'all can tell, man. But yeah, I just wanted to speak on the receiving core and how I can see it getting even better this year. Not to mention the fact that Dallas Goedert. I feel like we got to save this for on a Thursday Hurts day. Because, I mean, the dude, he's basically the reason damn near everyone is here. I know Devontae Smith was because of the draft pick, you know what I'm saying, where he was at and all that. But, I mean, it was an added benefit that he had a relationship with Jalen Hurts, I imagine, did have something to do with them drafting him. A.J. Brown come here. Y'all saw the phone call hopping on the jack like, yo, let's do this. And they did that. You feel me? Then we're finding out that Dallas Goedert was in constant communication with Jalen Hurts throughout this time during his contract dispute or whatever you want to call it, or extension. Reworking. However, but he was like, he wants to play with Jalen Hurts his whole damn career. He admires and respects Jalen Hurts on a level that I hadn't even been privy to. I see them on the sideline, of course. A lot of dudes are going to rock, you know what I'm saying, chill one, H1M. I mean, he is Himothy. You feel me? Bart Scott want to talk about Himothy's. This is the real H1M over here. I don't know what the flock you talking about, dog. Stop hating on my team. So you got that going on. Him and Dallas Goedert's relationship and Jahan Dotson, I think that's just a part of what's the boy name? Philly 500 always says, Devontae Smith is running some type of clandestine operation over there as far as his baseball game, because it seems like whoever goes there, we're going to pick him up. So Jahan Dotson probably had a lot to do with that, but getting Jahan Dotson probably had a lot to do with that, but Jahan Dotson also spoke to, him gaining a rapport with Jalen Hurts. He didn't quite have much that last year because he came in, a few days before the first preseason game, and then basically was just catching up all for the rest of the season. But like I said, in the playoffs, he might not have had, I believe, he may have not killed you with quantity, but the quality of his catches definitely did lend itself to us winning the Super Bowl last season. We got to give up for Jahan Dotson and his wide receiver core. You already know how I like to do around this time, about this time, at this time, man. To the next time, make it your best time. In the meantime, between time, keep it a green time. You already know how I like to do around this time, about this time, at this time. It's always Eagles clock around here. Open your eagle eye, poke your beacon, and give it a ah! And what you gonna do? Say it with me, y'all. EAGLES. Eagles. Let's flock and go. Get the flock out of here. Go.